LEBESSON against UEDA. LEBESSON to serve.
Last one.
That's what I call a bad start. 2 service mistakes in a row. I think even the second service, although it got over the net, was touched twice. Yeah, he was not even reacting. He felt it by himself. Could have been a better start. And yeah, you can see a little bit also the technique of Emmanuel LEBESSON. Not that often with this heavy backhand topspin, but if you flick into the backhand, it's like a straight block, like a straight smash nearly.
Last four.
Preferring this acceleration, this direct acceleration. Also with the forehand very often, he's not waiting that the ball is coming to him, but just attacking the ball directly himself.
Left.
Jin UEDA also in the double final, saved actually before the match ball against the German doubles, Ricardo Walter and Ruben Filos. Troubles in receiving this second series of service of Emmanuel LEBESSON. 4-2 on service.
4-3.
Good receive there. With the backhand short into the forehand of Jin UEDA. Curious when he will start to have the first long service. And there we see already this flick and coming back very fast from Emmanuel LEBESSON, coming this ball off the bounce, finding this counter spin. Very good. You see also a leg is a little bit up in the air. He keeps the body stability. Very good, this counter attack. That's the way he was playing at the Europeans also.
Left.
Yes,
5-4.
After the service mistakes in the beginning, now UEDA with the third direct receive mistake, Emmanuel LEBESSON found back his service. This is very good. This is very good from both. I mean, the classic style of Emmanuel LEBESSON, what we see from time to time also with Xusin, half-long service, directly turning around. Good reaction from Jin UEDA, and then whenever the rally is getting longer, I believe also throughout the whole match, Jin UEDA will have the advantage. The problem is to get in the long rallies against a player like Emmanuel LEBESSON.
Yes, sir. 6-6.
No problems in receiving right now for Emmanuel LEBESSON. Doesn't matter, like one time with backhand short, one time with forehand half long. Let's see what UEDA is doing. I was waiting for this backhand banana flick. And still, it's the fourth direct service return mistake from UEDA. He has to find a way to keep the ball after the return in the game.
Come on!
Very good again. You see there how fast Emmanuel LEBESSON is moving from the backhand side, how good he's bending his body. You see there, very good. And even to put the ball down the line, that's not that easy. Usually the long way would have been much easier. But very nicely constructed point from LEBESSON.
6-9.
And UEDA at this moment is not moving perfectly to my point of view. LEBESSON is really putting pressure, especially after his own service, and that means the pressure is also increasing when UEDA is having service.
9-7.
9-7. And we keep in mind 4 direct service return mistakes from UEDA. That That should have been not the right way. He has to avoid this, get into the rallies. Moving to the forehand might be away. But we can see again here the direct contact of the ball, the way LEBESSON is playing. He wants to finish the ball as early as possible. Again, the long rallies. The long rallies, whenever UEDA is able to keep the service return in a good quality way, then UEDA has some advantage there. You see here this backhand situation. LEBESSON has to move around and UEDA keeps him in the backhand half, has to make him play backhand, and whenever LEBESSON has to accelerate with the backhand out of the longer rallies, LEBESSON has some troubles as the backhand is not the strongest stroke, especially when he's far away from the table. Little bit of luck.
9, 10.
Just touched the edge. Good flick there. As I said, this flick and first ball, this is okay from the backhand side from LEBESSON. Whenever he has to move away from the table and he has to use the backhand, usually there is one of his weak points.
10, 10.
What I like about UEDA is that he stays very, very calm. I mean, he had a very hard time to survive against Bastian Steger, who had 2 match balls. Very good game there. And UEDA kept very, very calm, getting out of this tough situation. Now he's 10-10. Good service there. You see how fast the service was, just like the placement of the ball, just on the second jump, really touching the white line. This was perfect service. 11-10. 5th service receive mistake from UEDA. How steady UEDA is into the backhand. After the first forehand topspin of LEBESSON, I thought he's really the active one, but see how steady the control was here. And he kept it in the backhand, makes LEBESSON move away from the table, makes him use the backhand. And there, we mentioned that before, LEBESSON has some weak points. And this time, the backhand banana receive is working, and LEBESSON was not expecting this time the ball into the backhand. He was standing there waiting with his backhand. Maybe should have opened the side again. Maybe should have gone for the forehand direct winner. First game point for UEDA. And flick to the backhand, made it again. 13-11. Although UEDA missed 5 direct service from Emmanuel LEBESSON, that shows how complete UEDA is in the match, in the game. And this is, they have to think about over Patrick Sheila with the coach of Emmanuel LEBESSON and Chuyan Singh, the coach of Jin UEDA. We will be back in a second.
Ouais, mais alors après, peut-être il faut que tu restes en boulot. Quitte à t'en prendre loin, c'est pas grave. On l'invite, même si c'est un peu de rester un peu faire. Soit tu profiles un peu,
Vorhand i poddačenosti.
Ah. Okay.
So Jin UEDA is back at the table, never with right in mind, always the one who was back first at the table after the coaching time was at the end the winner. Let's see if this will keep on going. Jin UEDA at least won the first game and now serving in the beginning of game number 2. Again, this service, we saw this kind of technique also with the women before, Hayata or Ishikawa or Hamamoto, this around the service, around the ball, a little bit like a special way of this reverse service again. And you can produce easily, a little bit like a style of also Anton Schellberg or Pergerel, you can easily produce a lot of kick and a lot of heavy backspin, as we see here. Not that easy to read.
Last 3.
He's trying, I think. Also, we can see that that could have been one idea to open not to the backhand side, because UEDA was controlling the ball very good and getting to the longer rallies, then into the backhand. UEDA was just too dominant, so LEBESSON has to get maybe a little bit more up through the forehand.
3-1. Left.
Again, same service variation. Caused trouble also in the beginning of this game number 2 for Emmanuel LEBESSON. Very good. Very good receive there. Maybe drifting a bit too high. And have the variation to have this backhand return shot. But you see there, it was actually not that high. It was just like simply a very nice executed forehand flip by Jin UEDA. Really upcoming, I mentioned that before. Also did beat in the first round Simon Gauzy. So LEBESSON has the chance here to take revanche. Good long service, difficult to see there. He's throwing high the ball, but of course not that high toss as we've seen before. But then out of this situation to produce a very good long service or short service, difficult to judge for the opponent. And this is something that Jin UEDA is doing on a very, very high standard. LEBESSON has to always try to turn around, to play backhand, to play forehand from backhand side when he wants to get the direct point. Jin UEDA felt that, opened his backhand banana instead of going cross to the backhand, deep to the forehand, 5-3 up.
Left.
Very nice to have this eye in the last moment where the opponent is moving. Very well executed shot.
6-3.
And this looks like it's a little bit more upspin or no spin. Usually to produce backspin or downspin is not that easy, but it's possible. Also Pergerel is using it in this way. Very good, very good. You really have to admit, UEDA was keeping calm in this game number 1. Also, he was missing 5 service from Emmanuel LEBESSON. And now he's really kind of in control of the game.
Left.
He feels the service of Emmanuel LEBESSON with the backhand receive, putting some pressure directly also there. And the luck is also helping him, but you see like the way he's opening it. And Emmanuel LEBESSON did not find a way to attack the service of Jin UEDA so far.
9-3.
A little bit late there, that's always the disadvantage if you have a player like Emmanuel LEBESSON who mainly attacks with the forehand, who wants to rely on the forehand. He has to move not all over, but like he has to move very well with the legs. And there in one moment when he's a little bit late, he's also missing the ball, net out. This time reads the service right. A little bit more upspin. And again, you see how Emmanuel LEBESSON trying to switch the position because UEDA was already opening the side. Maybe we see in slow motion here again. You see here, there. He was opening the side. Emmanuel LEBESSON trying to place the ball in the deep forehand. And again, this ball was also the right placement. And this time he hit it also on the table. Still 5 game points for Jin UEDA. Long way to go for Emmanuel LEBESSON.
10-6.
Nodding the head, knows usually this is the right situation, the right decision. Sometimes has to follow a little bit more in the ball, moving towards the ball with the upper body. This time UEDA waited to get this ball into the forehand, and instead of playing a fast ball cross court, LEBESSON was choosing just like a lifted ball, a softer ball, no spin. And that surprised Jin UEDA. Brave shot there from LEBESSON. Again, flicked through the ball, accelerated the ball. And there usually was a chance for Jin UEDA. Ball was jumping maybe a bit higher due to the fact that LEBESSON giving a little bit extra spin inside. 10-8. Maybe a small chance for LEBESSON to come back. Brave service. Brave long service down the line. Not the first time though. And now it's timeout from Chuan Singh. Was long time and actually is also still living in Germany. His two sons are playing also in the German Bundesliga. They're both like promising players. Chuan Singh also main coach in 2016 for Jun Mitsutani, and now is still in the, let's say, staffing part of the Japanese national team. One of the most important coaches there. Great knowledge there. Patrick Schiller, coach of Emmanuel LEBESSON, also former world-class player. Both know very important this situation.
9-10.
Let's see if LEBESSON is trying one more time, maybe even with a long service. We find out soon. Was waiting for this flick. And maybe the placement was a bit deeper into the backhand and was not offering the deep backhand, but waiting for the forehand. 10-10. What a comeback. Yoni! 11-10. The streak goes on. I'm sure UEDA cannot believe he was totally in control. And what a fight, what a comeback. And he did it, unbelievable. What a comeback from Emmanuel LEBESSON, who really had so many things to solve, who really had to struggle, and Jin UEDA was so much in control. And this time the service was even drifting out a bit half long. You see in the face of UEDA, he cannot believe he didn't use this chance. And he actually even couldn't come back even after the timeout to take this extra point, to take the next point. So everything is open. This is what I like so much about table tennis. Not that much to have a really prediction in which direction everything might be going. It can be fast to change a whole match.
D'accord? Ouais, ouais, mais s'il pivote, c'est pas grave, il va pivoter une fois, c'est qu'un point. Hein, c'est des points que tu vas encaisser après. Juste un truc en remise, essaye de venir flipper un peu plus fort comme tu as fait, sur le rentrant, ou sur le sortant, venir la piquer.
Ouais, il vient flipper.
Ouais, mais viens, ou alors tu viens en revers, tu la piques.
Ouais, ce que j'ai fait, il vient flipper.
Ouais, mais ou alors tu viens flipper un petit peu plus milieu, tu viens flipper milieu, ou alors tu la remets un petit peu plus milieu. D'accord? Mais pas de balle tendue, ça sert pas à grand chose la balle tendue. Ou alors un petit flip de temps en temps dans le plein droit si tu veux. Allez mec, allez!
So we are back in game number 3 between Jin UEDA and Emmanuel LEBESSON here at the Seamaster 2017 Czech ITTF World Tour. Very interesting match so far between LEBESSON and UEDA. UEDA up 1-0, 10-6 before Emmanuel LEBESSON got back and secured this game. And then again we see the classic style till this was built up in game number 2 out of the backhand situation, out of the situation far away from the table. UEDA is dominant and LEBESSON has some weak points. Again, this backhand down the line. Main thing is there, LEBESSON has to open not only in the backhand, has to open through the middle, has to open through the forehand, and has to really attack after his service directly. The question is, and this was also one of the moments when LEBESSON came back, why UEDA keeps on going on the placement of this service directly into the middle forehand, because LEBESSON was flicking pretty well. And also here again attacking pretty well after this first backhand topspin. Should have also changed the placement of the ball. It's crucial always to have this in mind, to keep changing the placement of the service. Again the long service, and this long service is really fast. Down the line, difficult to expect this. Good. This is really good. This is one of the trademark shots of Emmanuel LEBESSON after this half-long service when the opponent is starting with a softer topspin. This counter spin, the way he's turning around, he's doing on a perfect way. Maybe Xuksin is a little bit more smooth, but Emmanuel LEBESSON is in this way also very, very effective. And what you are doing, I can do myself. Also, this long service down the line is working in favor of UEDA. So much about tactics also inside this high-speed chess called table tennis. This time not going for the flick, this time trying the short receive. Drifted out a bit high. UEDA had the chance to get above the table. Nice executed shot though. 4-4. It's interesting. It's 80% of this backhand flick is getting to the deep forehand of LEBESSON. LEBESSON is anticipating this ball very good and is not rushing too much, but just having a good quality in the deep backhand of UEDA. Should change the placement of this backhand banana from time to time. Or maybe even also is playing the ball short. And this time, this was forced because UEDA was seeing that LEBESSON was already again turning around from the backhand side. He's trying to avoid this position, trying to move him to the forehand, but the spin from the service was simply too heavy, therefore he missed it. But it was forced by the situation that before LEBESSON was hitting 2 times this counter topspin from the backhand side. That's interesting. After 10-1-0, 10-6, after being down, after this comeback, now also LEBESSON is really in the lead and UEDA feels a little bit unsecure. Now, smart service, this time changed the service, short to the backhand. Heavy backspin. 7-5, but service of LEBESSON. Let's see whether he's gonna show us again one of his long service down the line. Yeah, and this placement is much better. We remember before, when he was just opening into the backhand, UEDA was controlling the ball, building up the ball in backhand situation, and LEBESSON didn't have the chance to catch out. Now he's opening to the middle, winning the ball directly.
5-9.
And again there, this time also the topspin was much faster, but in the straight backhand, UEDA was just catching, and a little bit lucky there that UEDA was not finishing the ball. But now LEBESSON really find his rhythm. Maybe also lifted up the fact, due to the fact that he was winning the game number 2 very close. That's good. That's simply good after this short receive to come this forehand flick. You know, meanwhile, many players are able to use this backhand banana in all directions. But not that many are able to have this straight forehand flick as it was executed many years ago. So that's probably something we have to think it over again. And the service drifting out half long, start to open a bit to the middle. And that's 11-5 for Emmanuel LEBESSON after winning the second game after being 10-6 down. Now he's securing game number 3, is up 2-1, and we will be back in a minute. Table tennis is so much a kind of a mind game, and I think for sure in the way if Jin UEDA would have won this last point in game number 2, he would have been also lifted up and the game would have been gone in a totally different direction. Instead of Emmanuel LEBESSON was coming back, not only winning game number 2, but also game number 3, and is up 2-1. And Jin UEDA is about to serve. Might be an option in order to avoid this forehand or backhand flick, to get the service a bit easier, just low spin and no spin, not so much side spin. And like this, he's also avoiding the flick. We have quite some service mistake already. Emmanuel LEBESSON, that's why he was starting. 2 service mistakes in a row. It's really heavy spin inside this service and a very good length. Not that easy to open the ball through the forehand. And in the backhand half, LEBESSON is waiting. And that's what Emmanuel LEBESSON really has to do, avoiding this backhand down the line. This is what UEDA wants to do, because in the long rallies he will be dominant. But whenever he can move him to the middle and into the forehand side, then LEBESSON, there again also on the long service, he was trying to get directly the ball to the middle and forehand side. There in these shorter rallies, LEBESSON has his chances. Good long service again. It's also getting more and more important, especially as more players are trying to receive with the backhand, to use the long service from time to time, to use the service down the line, to use the service cross court, be ready to have directly the counter spin going, as we see them from here from both players. A little bit late with the legs. The idea, to my point of view, was right, to place the ball down the line into the forehand of UEDA. Chance there for Emmanuel LEBESSON. We've seen that quite some time before on this half-long ball. Whenever he has the chance to execute the forehand topspin from the backhand half, he's able to win direct points. This time didn't work out. 5-3, and service UEDA. Very aggressive push there. And that's what I mentioned right in the beginning. Emmanuel LEBESSON maybe not the best in the long rallies, but one of the best when it's coming to terms of service and attack. This 3-ball attack. He's really in Europe one of the most aggressive players altogether.
5-5.
And this second service mistake hurts for sure. Really feels like UEDA lost a little bit this concentration. Still maybe hurts this loss of game number 2.
Left.
Also, he should forget about this. That's crucial in table tennis, to try to be focused on the next point.
6-5.
From the expression of the face, you can tell long in forehand, and this usually he expects to put the ball on the table, and this has nothing to do with the racket. It's more about the placement and the way he's doing this backhand block to have the ball a little bit more in the ball, and then the next ball he's missing also on this half long. UEDA is not surviving these first balls in order to get into the longer rallies where he might have his advantages.
Left.
Good receive. Good receive. Was not expecting it that short. Just let the ball drop. Usually many players out of this situation, they're answering with his backhand banana flick. LEBESSON is able to flick not with his banana, but like with a straight flick, but also at the same time just let the ball drop short into the forehand of UEDA. And now the flick was coming.
9-5.
Looks like he's really not recovered yet from this loss of game number 2, to my point of view. And Emmanuel LEBESSON has really lifted up his performance.
Nine, 6.
Small points, very important also in table tennis. Not only to keep in mind that the long rallies are important, also the long rallies are only 1 point. That's power. That's power. And in some moments, this short way of movement reminds me a little bit on Jean-Philippe Gatien, the former world champion of France, and had also a very nice acceleration. And you see this power. He knows that he needs to smash this ball, put his whole body inside. 10-6, 4 game points.
7-10.
And as I said, a little bit straighter the technique he's using when he's coming up with a backhand flick. Still 1 service to go for Jin UEDA, and 3 game points for LEBESSON. What a reaction, 2 times, unbelievable. First this side spin, chop, block from Emmanuel LEBESSON, really like a reaction shot. And then he was just anticipating the cross, fast forehand topspin. You see here, and now anticipating, hand is up, and just like smash the ball back with the backhand. This was really the reaction shot of the day. We see one more time here in slow motion, opening the ball. Oh, this was another ball, but really great what Emmanuel LEBESSON was playing here and really lifting his performance and finishing also with this forehand smash. 11-7, he's up 3-1, and we will be back with game number 5 soon.
Ou alors, mais bien que tu viens flipper. Souvent, quand tu viens flipper, quand même, c'est pas mal. Hein.
Ouais, mais si je vais flipper dans son retour droit sans trop de consistance, là.
Ouais, non, là, c'est pas bon. Non, mais quand tu viens flipper dans son revers, c'est bien. Allez, et au service,
Il va servir un peu plus long, je pense.
Ouais, il va t'en faire, mais bon.
Mais là, dans le coup droit, je l'anticipe. Faut pas que je la joue en ligne. Au pire, faut pas que je m'expose dans le revers.
Ouais. Là, t'es bien. Bien, maintenant. Continue à bien varier, surtout au service. C'est important pour toi, le service. Hein, allez, mec, allez.
There's also a fourth game of the match. Here's taking us with Emmanuel LEBESSON with score at 11-7. The match score is 3-1 on games against Jin UEDA.
And this time Emmanuel LEBESSON was a little bit faster away from the coaching zone, and he's 3-1 up. And Jin UEDA has to really struggle back himself into the game. as Emmanuel LEBESSON really did lift his performance a lot.
Last one.
I'm always keeping my breath a little bit if I see Emmanuel LEBESSON getting to this half-long balls, but his hand is up very much, so no big threat to hit his finger, as we have seen earlier. Ishikawa was a little bit lower hand when she starts to attack on half-long balls. Better start now for Jin UEDA, to the rub and on service. 3-0, and again, whenever we have this back-and-back-and situation where Emmanuel LEBESSON really has to bend his body around. See here. Also, it was a bit of an easy mistake of LEBESSON, but then these rallies, these are the rallies UEDA has to search for, has to look. Very good there. Long service followed up by a topspin down the line. Usually, if you just watch these players, you would say from technically wise, UEDA is more complete. But then again, it's not only about technique, it's also about structure of the game. And structure of the game and attack of the game, LEBESSON is really on a very, very high level. I'm really impressed the way he's playing, especially after coming back, after winning game number 2, being 10-6 down. But now, much better start for UEDA. 3-1 down, but 5-0 up.
5-1.
Longer time to concentrate before the service. And this time the long service was coming again, but this time into the deep forehand of LEBESSON. LEBESSON was waiting there, always is on the jump, we say. Moving very on, and you see they're quite close to the table, not moving backwards as probably other players would have done. Very aggressive.
3-5.
Again, a service mistake. Quite some we have already.
3-6.
If you manage to push him very deep, there LEBESSON, due to the fact that he's trying to take the ball very early, it's not that easy for him to produce a bow, like a higher bow trajectory of the ball. There sometimes he's missing from deep forehand especially. And that was smart. That was smart. Good length of the service. And usually you see LEBESSON, who was already on the way to turn around on this half-long ball to execute his trademark shot. And this time UEDA was just lifting, but a little bit more with quality than before, giving him a 7-3 lead.
Eight,
8-3. And LEBESSON looks like he's a little bit, let's say, calmed down. And UEDA is just finding back his game. Although he had one service mistake, just like opening in the beginning.
見てるでしょ払うあそうもしこっちある払うもし難しいのは続け後半それ絶対勝つバックロンサーブバックは待つ後半じゃないストレート強いくないバーこっち簡単もしこいつ回り込むかん怖いの時後半前サービスあ OK 大丈夫よ
6th game, 2-3. UEDA to serve, love all.
So we are back in game number 6, UEDA to serve. Again starts with a long service. And LEBESSON is more and more ready for this long service. Whoa, that's power. That's power, and the way he was bending again his body from the backhand side in order to execute this fast forehand topspin from backhand side. That's very, very special. You see, he doesn't let him out. He's finishing the ball, all the power inside, direct smash. Very good from LEBESSON.
2-1.
So crucial also from UEDA to read the service right, to flick this ball into the backhand. And also the ball's touched there. You could see that UEDA was not really ready from this middle, had to open the side. It would have been probably a safe block to the backhand. That's exactly the placement LEBESSON has to search for. Good this time. Received a bit half long. And not that fast forehand topspin from UEDA. But nice placement, a little bit deeper, you see, with a little bit what we said, a hook, a little bit of a side spin into the deep backhand of Emmanuel LEBESSON. It's always this first attack, and when UEDA has the chance to attack this backhand and to go into the backhand situation, avoid this first step of turning around from Emmanuel LEBESSON, then UEDA has a little bit more control of the game. And LEBESSON, on the other hand, he has to turn around as early as possible and has to feel that he's turning around in the moment when he gets the ball into the backhand, of course. That's crucial behind. You see this also, it's a classic example. Mainly LEBESSON attacks with the forehand. And UEDA is opening in both sides, and LEBESSON has to be fast enough to control nearly the whole table with his forehand.
3-4.
Service of LEBESSON is really heavy, also sometimes drifting out half long. Then he's ready to come with a counter spin, especially from backhand side. Not a unique style, but a special style LEBESSON is using. Ooh. Up, down. Difficult to see. I think UEDA was just pointing. It's going down. Very fair. Not that easy to judge, even from this camera position. Yeah. Main thing is both players agree. Very fair. Very good from Jin UEDA. We have this 90% that the players, they organize, they decide the ball is up or the ball is down. Very fair sport. This is really sportsmanship. And that's something really LEBESSON is doing well. After this short ball, the second time short, it's a little bit higher, and this is the chance with this high hand of LEBESSON to attack directly. And you can see from the hand of UEDA, he thought, man, why should I play this ball another time short? Better after a short receive to open in both corners. And this time attacking in the backhand. And now Jin UEDA probably is thinking, I would need a second timeout desperately, because he really feels that LEBESSON is on his way up. 7-4, one more service to go. And he's ready there after this first flick. As I said before, this is usually not that best point from Emmanuel LEBESSON, this backhand, but the first backhand on the table puts him in a situation that he can follow up with forehand very strongly, and the opponent knows it, so he feels the pressure directly whenever the backhand is on to finish the point there. And UEDA feels really a big pressure right now, being 4-8 down and 2-3. Good one. 2 times down the line, first with backhand, followed by a strong forehand down the line. As I said, we don't see many long rallies, but we see, tactically wise, a very interested game and match. So it was half long service, but it was net. So will be one more time the chance to do a better service from Jin UEDA. Good backhand. Was the right way. 6-4, 7-4 was this long push in the backhand where UEDA was missing. Now 8-5, 8-6. UEDA was putting the ball with good quality on the table. But now it's LEBESSON to serve. Let's see if we see one more time a long service down the line. No, very good. And the first placement was there. He was expecting the ball deep to forehand. And you see you have this counter attack there. Short movement, a little bit like a jab in boxing. 2 times you don't feel like this big power, but 2 times this small power by using the power of the opponent means a 9-6 lead. And very good the way he's moving all over the whole table with forehand, with short movement and not far away from the table as we see before at Pergerel, but very close to the table. You see there, good movement, good banding, down the line, 10-6, match ball for Emmanuel LEBESSON. And he had it. He has it. 11-6, 3-2, 4-2 for Emmanuel LEBESSON. Great comeback. Probably the crucial moment was game number 2 when Emmanuel LEBESSON came back after being 10-6 down. That really lifted his performance, and Emmanuel LEBESSON is through to the semis. Also